You know who that is, right?
Like really looking.
My father put me in with the top guys, professional fighters at like 12, 13 years old. You know, and that was something that I really enjoyed the most because it was hard. I would cry, I would run away, I didn't like it. And I would tell him like, you know, this is not for me, I wanna quit. And he would just, nope, no, you could do this. My father would flip it around sometimes and say, okay, you wanna quit, we'll quit. And literally I would stop for maybe a day or two and bug him, be like, hey, I wanna go back in the gym. So I believe we had this connection, obviously, since birth.
Beautiful. 4 straight in the jab. Tap, stick.
No, do that they do.
Yeah, come on. Woo! But you gotta load. Yeah, you gotta load the shot. You gotta load it. Right.
What if the biggest story surrounding Rolly Romero and Teofimo Lopez isn't actually the belt, the weight class, or even the fight itself, but the completely different versions of these two fighters that are suddenly showing up at exactly the same time? Because the closer you look, the stranger this matchup gets.
What's it like in those early days when you first started out?
Throwing windmill punches, all sorts of just randomly standing there, just, you know, all that stuff, getting hit for no reason.
Quick. Hit that body.
Here. That's what we've been waiting for, man. Working on drills, foot drills, hand-eye reaction, everything. You know, my guy, TA, Go Feet Formula, that's what's about to happen right now. I'm about to enter the whole matrix.
So like you know, we already here. Fight week is on, and we at the UFC Facility Center. I've never seen him this great since right after the Olympics when he turned pro. Like very explosive. And now it's a take back, and we just trying to focus on that and going to the next level, man, and taking over the 140 weight division, and that's what we focus on right now.
Now, I'm gonna show you where I grew up. We lived in that one when I was born. We used to live right here. I moved out of here like 3-4 years ago. But I moved out just because I didn't want to live with my dad anymore, you know? I'm a grown man now, you know? But I mean, I don't have no problem with this area. It's calmed down a lot over the years. It's nowhere near as what it used to be. Like, it's early 2000s, it was really bad. Like, people were shooting each other like every single day here. There's a homeless shelter right here. And there used to be a boxing gym right here too. Golden Gloves Gym, that's where Floyd and all them used to train. Floyd, Trinidad, Mike Tyson was there for a while. My dad, it was like walkable, so I'd go with my dad all the time when I was a kid. My dad used to box. If it wasn't for my dad, I really wouldn't be where I'm at today. Most of the great champions are father-son duos. I mean, not every fighter has that opportunity, you know, and ain't nobody gonna press you harder than your father, especially your father who's obsessed with boxing.
And just when you think you understand what's happening, another piece drops into place. Rolly Romero is coming off the biggest victory of his career. Teofimo Lopez is coming off a painful defeat. And somehow the man who supposedly needs to rebuild his confidence is walking straight into another dangerous challenge instead of taking the easy road. Coincidence? Maybe. But fans are already connecting the dots, and this is where the story gets interesting.
All the other kids, he knew I could beat every kid. However, he just wanted to add a little bit more sauce into me. And what was it? He said, be different, have fun, enjoy yourself, entertain. And I always had that in me. I started boxing at the age of 6, officially. But before that, my father had me fighting and doing Taekwondo at 2 years old. So let's say from 2 all the way to 17, for 15 years, I didn't know where I was going. I didn't believe in myself like my father did. I did not. What my father instilled with me, and it stuck with me, were a lot of things that I could really say that has improved my living. Don't get hit. He always told me that. He's like, you know how to box, you know how to do this, just don't get hit.
Now the mission is different. Move up to 147 pounds. Challenge Rolly Romero for the WBA welterweight title and prove that the loss did not define him.
All he had to say was don't get hit, and I already knew what that meant. And the sparring, man, it was just really bad because I wanted to impress my father the most. When I didn't perform at my best with him, or if I got hit and I didn't like it and I started crying, I would run away. I literally would run away from my father and everybody. They would look for me. This is me at 8 years old running away, my father having to call the cops, and I put my father through a lot of mess. You know, and I would cry all the time. I would embarrass him because I would cry while he was in the corner. I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this. And that's why I never really liked sparring. It wasn't because of the that I wasn't good enough. I believe it was just the fact that I was so hard on myself.
Teofimo didn't disappear after losing to Shakur Stevenson. Reports and his own comments suggest he went straight back into serious preparation, sharpening his jab, working on movement, improving his punch output, and preparing for something completely different, 147 pounds.
Who's that? It's a takeover. I love you, Floyd. Let's go. Thank you, guys. That was great.
What makes it even more intriguing is that Lopez is moving up in weight after the Stevenson defeat, turning this into a completely new test. He has talked about returning to disciplined boxing, but there's still that explosive Teofimo waiting underneath it all. On August 22nd, the training finally gets put to the test. No excuses, no hiding, no rebuilding tour. Just Teofimo Lopez stepping back into the spotlight against Rolly Romero, with another world title sitting right in front of him.
And then there's Rolly, who had just beaten Ryan Garcia and could have spent months enjoying the attention. But instead, he was back in the gym preparing for Teofimo. Two fighters, two very different moments. One enormous question: which version of them is actually real? And you won't believe how far back this story goes. Teofimo has spoken openly about growing up around boxing and being pushed relentlessly by his father, describing moments from childhood when the pressure became so intense that he would cry, walk away, and even try to escape training. Yes, seriously, the future world champion once wanted to quit, but every time he walked away, something pulled him back. He would eventually return to the gym himself.
Rain is doing a conversation. Didn't he dug me twice? He dug me after our direct rematch clause, and he dug me after he fought Barrios. You're gonna tell me that this dude wants to fight? Right, he's just trying to chase whatever clout he can get right now. Same way he calls out everybody in the world and doesn't fight anybody. Don't bring up Ryan Garcia. He's
That detail changes everything because Teofimo's story suddenly stops looking like a simple comeback and starts looking like another chapter in a lifelong battle with expectations. His father didn't just teach him how to throw punches. According to Teofimo, he taught him that quitting was never going to be the final answer. And then comes the twist. Teofimo isn't only thinking about boxing anymore. He's talking about business, ownership, protecting his future, and building takeover promotions. In other words, while everyone else is asking, can Teofimo beat Rolly? Teofimo appears to be asking a much bigger question. What happens to Teofimo Lopez after the fight? And that is where this entire story takes a turn. Because while Teofimo is talking about the future, Rolly is busy reminding everybody why he is one of boxing's most unpredictable personalities. Rolly has never exactly been accused of entering a room quietly. After the Ryan Garcia victory, he was asked about Ryan potentially wanting the winner of this matchup, and Rolly basically slammed the door on the conversation.
That's still on the radar for you, a unification fight down the road?
No, we sent him an offer, a great lucrative offer. He decided not to take the fight because Devaney Promotions isn't a real promotion company. As we see, he can't bid in his own purse bids because he's not a real promotion company. On top of that, they're always fighting for a going out of business sale. But regardless of everything, me and Devin are never going to fight because he is scared of me. Make sure I never missed a meal. You know, but still, regardless, helping out anyone, you know. Like, bro, trust me, I'm grateful for anything, bro. Somebody gives me anything right now, I'm the happiest person ever, whether it's has no value or anything, you know. I value because the thing is gifts, they have energy in it anyways, you know. They just, somebody going out of the way to give you something, it's a different kind of love, you know.
He questioned why Ryan was even being mentioned and claimed, according to his own comments, that Garcia had previously avoided opportunities to fight him. Suddenly, Ryan isn't even the main character anymore. Neither is Devin Haney. The spotlight swings straight back to Rolly versus Teofimo. Fake breaking news. The Ryan Garcia story has been interrupted because Rolly Romero has decided he has more names to cross off the list. And this is where it gets even more entertaining, because underneath all the trash talk, Rolly actually acknowledged something important about Teofimo moving up. Could the extra weight make Teofimo stronger? Rolly didn't completely dismiss the possibility. That tiny response matters because confidence is one thing, but giving your opponent credit, even indirectly, can reveal that you're paying attention. And Rolly is definitely paying attention. But then the documentary suddenly gives us a completely different Rolly.
A lot of things to it, actually. It's not just coming back with a big fight and stuff like that. You know, when you get outclassed like my previous fight, then there's things that you gotta really think about. But I think about the business perspective of it. I need to also protect my assets. And what does that mean? We gotta start now launching something different. Takeover promotions with the Zone. And then we could do anything and everything with the lead promoters that come into play, right? But at least I get the rights to all my things.
I think sometimes after losses, people forget who you are. Rolly in the scrum over there, he was talking about how great you are. He thinks you're already a Hall of Famer. I believe he was rattling off. At one point, you would have been undisputed if not for a technicality of, I forget who he said, elevating for a higher belt. You have accolades and you have done some things that other people have not done in this game. Just, what do you think about him giving you those kind of praises?
I think that his PR team is doing a phenomenal job. That's what I think. I think that he listens very well to his team and how to build up this fight. I think the whole purpose of that really is so that, you know, when they believe that he beat me, they fought the best guy that it possibly was ever in my.
Forget the interviews, forget the jokes, forget the verbal fireworks. Rolly returns to his old elementary school and starts talking to kids about gratitude, his parents, and appreciating even the smallest gesture someone gives you. Wait, this Rolly? The same Rolly who can turn an interview into verbal fireworks suddenly becomes reflective and grateful. And that contrast might be the biggest clue about his mentality. Because perhaps the loud personality isn't the entire story. Perhaps it's part of the armor. And if that's true, then his transformation inside the ring becomes even more fascinating. Against Ryan Garcia, Rolly reportedly showed something fans weren't used to seeing from him. Patience, discipline, a willingness to stick to a plan instead of rushing into every opportunity. Sean Porter noticed it, and that's when the matchup gets seriously complicated. Because if Rolly has actually evolved from the unpredictable fighter fans expected into someone who can patiently wait,
both of them, like we saw with Rolly with Ryan. Rolly came to the ring with a game plan and he stayed disciplined.
Yes.
The entire fight. You know what I mean? And that was something that we respectfully hadn't truly seen from Rolly until that night, to the point that all of us is like confused, you know? And I think the same thing goes for Teo. I think Teo is at a point in his career where he's going to come to the ring and be disciplined. They're both going to come to, I guarantee you, they're both going to come to the ring and do things that we don't expect either of them has, because you were taught to be that explosive counter puncher that can be first when you want to be first. But your rhythm is more of a counter punching rhythm. And so when guys come in the ring and they in the middle of the ring waiting on him, now it becomes this waiting game because I have been trained to have this be first and then the techniques on what I do after I'm first. So that's the biggest adjustment that Teofimo, in my opinion, is going to have to make. To me, now he's in a position where he can make that adjustment. The question is he going to be trained to do that, or is he going to be trained?
Then Teofimo may be walking into the exact kind of tactical puzzle that has challenged him before. Teofimo has traditionally been at his most dangerous when his explosiveness and counterpunching rhythm are allowed to shine. But what happens when the opponent refuses to give him that rhythm? What happens when Rolly stands there, waits, studies, and refuses to cooperate with the script? Suddenly, this isn't simply power against power. It becomes patience against timing, discipline against instinct, and one mistake could change everything. Fake breaking news, the most dangerous part of this fight might be the moments when nothing is happening. Think about that. Two explosive fighters can spend an entire round waiting for the other man to blink, and then boom! The entire fight changes in one exchange. But there's another twist hiding underneath all of this. Teofimo isn't simply trying to prove that he can beat Rolly. He appears determined to prove that the version of Teofimo people saw against Shakur wasn't the final version of him. That loss may have forced him to rethink everything. His preparation, his discipline, his business decisions, even the way he approaches his career. And Rolly? He has the opposite problem. After beating Ryan, everybody wants to know whether that performance was a one-night transformation or the beginning of something permanent. So now, both men are walking into the same fight carrying almost identical questions. Teofimo needs to prove his evolution is real. Rolly needs to prove his evolution is real. And that means the fight could become less about who they were and more about who they claim they have become. Here's the part fans may have missed. Teofimo's resume already includes elite names like Vasily Lomachenko and Josh Taylor, while Rolly has built his reputation around unpredictability, confidence, and raw danger. But after a loss, people often rewrite history. Suddenly the wins look smaller, the mistakes look bigger. The entire career gets judged through the lens of one night. Teofimo clearly seems determined not to let that happen. And Rolly seems determined to make sure that if Teofimo wants a new chapter, he has to earn it against him. Then another name enters the conversation: Shawn Porter. His analysis essentially suggests that both fighters could do things nobody expects. And honestly, that may be the most important prediction of the entire episode. Because if Rolly fights like the patient version we saw against Ryan, and Teofimo fights with the discipline he says he has been developing, the old scouting reports could become useless. The fighter you think you know may not be the fighter who walks into the ring. Fake breaking news: the old Rolly may be gone, the old Teofimo may be gone, and that means every prediction you made 5 minutes ago could already be wrong. And now we arrive at the final twist. What if this entire fight was never really about redemption? What if it was about identity? Rolly is trying to prove he is more than the wild personality people expect. Teofimo is trying to prove he is more than the loss people keep talking about. Both men are fighting against a version of themselves that the public has already decided exists. And that makes this matchup far more personal than a title fight on paper. Because when the bell rings, there are no interviews, no social media clips, no headlines, no excuses, and no carefully chosen words. So tell me honestly, is Rolly's new patience the perfect weapon against Teofimo? Or is Teofimo's experience and explosiveness about to expose a completely different side of Rolly?